listening to Fighting Game Follies.
It's the #1 podcast for low-level player opinions.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Round 1.
Hello to all my mashers, grapplers, set play psychopaths, Wi-Fi warriors, ultras, tournament organizers, content creators, and just everybody else in the entire FGC scope and spectrum, spectators and all. What's happening? It's your boy Griff for Games, Skyward Games.png, whatever I'm going by for this week's tournament run, and welcome back to another episode of the Fighting Game Follies, episode 22. Back up in the seat again, back up talking about a lot of things because we got a lot of things to talk about. So many things, in fact, that I'm just going to completely forego like my normal structure, hitch out a little lightning round and just a couple quick points that I want to talk about, and then like two other, I guess, bigger things that I want to mention and like put more of a focus on. So yeah, without further ado, you already know what we're here to do. Obviously, you know, as I just laid out what this episode is going to be about, sit back, relax. I guess we should like just hurry up and start talking about things, and things that like I want to start talking about, because you know this is a relatively big like news episode, which I kind of hate because I feel like this is starting to just turn into like a fighting game news podcast. But like we're just in such an amazing era for fighting games, and we just keep getting so much news about like everything in general. So if I gotta, you know, play news anchor, if I gotta do my best Laid Omni impression, shout out Omni, then you know I'm gonna just do it. So first off, there are a couple of things that I want to like just start stressing and just start like talking about right off of the bat. For those who don't know, Evo has over 9,000 participants so far, like listed and everything. You know, I already know I'm one of them. But yeah, Evo has over 9,000 participants so far, which is insane. That's like record breaking, if I'm not mistaken. Which is, you know, sort of just more of a testament to like how like incredibly like phenomenal fighting games have been, especially in this year alone. And with over like 9,000 participants, I wouldn't be surprised if it hit 10K before or by the time Evo actually rolls around. But well, I mean, since it's like they just sent out a vague tweet with like the super old Vegeta, it's over 9,000, so it could have hit 10K. I feel like they might, or they would like give that a dedicated tweet, and not just like it's over 9,000. But whatever. That's besides the point. Evo has over 9,000 participants, and top two games that, you know, most of the participants are in, if you can't already guess, it's obviously Street Fighter and Guilty Gear Strive. And I think the third one was Mortal Kombat. Let me actually pull up the tweet right now, because I have the capability to do that. But yeah, just like I'm very much I'm very much afraid going into like this Evo run now, cuz like I'm not going to say, oh, I wasn't expecting it to be big, because it's Evo. Evo is huge, but over 9,000 participants is crazy. Here, alright, here, registration leaderboard. So, first up, obviously on the list, we got Street Fighter, following behind Guilty Gear, Tekken, you know, big three, you know, the big three in terms of, like, just fighting games in general, really, or at least for, like, this year, and just, like, Evo in general. Following behind Tekken, we got UMVC 3, obviously, GOAT, staple. A game that I really don't care about, Dragon Ball FighterZ, yippee. King of Fighters, you know, pretty solid pick. Melty Blood, you know, holding it down for the other anime rep of the stage. And then Mortal Kombat 11, which, once again, I also just don't care about. No Smash, thankfully. I'm so glad we, as a community, have just, like, moved past Smash as, like, being on, the EVO main stage. And I'm just so glad. And there's even an image here that somebody put up where it's all three of the games like being grouped together, and it's like, oh, the footsies are all like Gear, SF, like Tekken, to the team games, UMVC, Dragon Ball, KOF, and then you just got the Kusuges. If you don't know, Kusuges is garbage, trash. You got Melty Blood, Mortal Kombat 11. I wouldn't say that for Melty Blood, because Melty Blood is like really good, but Mortal Kombat, yeah, it's not really. Yeah, whatever. But, you know, Kusuge, bad game, fun to play. We ain't even going to, like, stress about it all too much. So, yeah, that's sort of the mini section for that I, like, want to talk about. Evo having over 9,000 participants, super big, super huge thing. Like, we gotta, man, that's just, I don't really have, like, words to express it. just like the fact that that's gonna be a really fun experience to like just go over there, check that out, and like just both on spectator sides and like like just everybody that has to like join in and plays a part into it. This is most definitely going to be an Evo for the books, especially since like we as a community, we haven't come together in like 3 years because of COVID and everything. We're now like slowly starting to get our locals back. We're slowly starting to get back into how things used to be. I'm not gonna say how things were like normal, because there's never really a normal already. There's never a normal until like it needs to be established. I don't know what I'm saying, but I'm just glad Evo is looking mighty healthy this year. Fighting games are just looking mighty healthy this year. And like I always say at the end of every episode, I really am excited to be a part of this. And I'm just really excited to, sort of give my 2 cents and everything and like just tell y'all how I feel about certain things. Next up, slowly like backing away a tiny bit off of fighting games. This is more just like general news that I did like want to talk about. But Twitter and Reddit dying. Elon Musk just like is completely killing the platform because for those who don't know, those who are living under a rock, because a couple people did actually ask me about this when I like started bringing it up in conversation. But Twitter, I don't even know what Elon was doing, but in order to like stop something, he basically enacted a limit on all of the posts that you could see. And if I'm not mistaken, if my numbers are, let me actually go and check it again, since once again I can check it. Hopefully I don't reach into my um view tweet limit, because I was watching a couple of stuff earlier. I actually no, never mind. I am following Elon. But okay, for those who don't know, he enacted a limit for tweets basically. So like if you're not a Twitter Blue member, then you only get like 600 tweets. If you're a new account that like isn't verified, you only get to see 300 tweets. And then obviously, for the golden stars, the golden boys, everybody that he just loves, for the verified accounts, they're limited to reading 6,000 tweets slash posts a day. So that's over like 10 times for the regular unverified account, which is kind of funny. And then like, or 3 times for the new unverified account, which I don't even know what would constitute as new. Probably like obviously making a new account, but like, when does the time frame become like not new? Like, when is it like, oh, this guy's seasoned enough? Is it like a week, 2 weeks, a month, a year? So yeah. That's it blows. This blows for a couple of reasons. Obviously, because like with us coming together as a community, obviously communication is going to be the thing that we want to stress the most. And with like, I don't want to say the biggest platform, but like probably the biggest platform to like talk about things in like just Twitter in general. Like, we have so many like amazing accounts like Hi-Fi, Scrub Quotes, like just all of the community efforts and everything that go into like, or that we as a community uphold onto like Twitter and everything, and just like all of the stuff that we do on that website, it's gonna, I don't think this is gonna like completely like get rid of everything, but I feel like this is most definitely going to like slow down the momentum, and like the gears are in fact going to probably like grind a tiny bit, which really blows, because we're coming up with like, or we're about to like go into some really big events. Communication is going to be like a very big factor into this, so it kind of sucks not being able to have like complete just full conversations and everything like with us, or like just with each other. And I feel like, I mean, there are options like Discord and everything, but like not everybody's going to be friends on Discord, or not everyone's going to be in the same server. And on top of that, Discord isn't really like the best of platforms either to begin with. Like, it's only really made to interact with like either new people like completely publicly, or like mutuals or other things with like their servers, and then that whole like mutual friend of a friend, like bring in other people type platform stuff. So yeah, with Twitter and Reddit dying, it sort of leaves an open, potentially it leaves an open space for what we're going to do. I don't really know what I'm going to do. I'm gonna be like 100% honest. I'm still probably going to like use it, and just like, I haven't reached the limit yet, so I don't really care all too much about it. But still, just like the fact that there is a limit in place like already sucks, or it like just sucks big time. So we'll have to figure out, see how that goes, like, play it by ear and everything. Depending on how it updates, I'll like keep you guys posted on the situation and whatnot. But hopefully things get better, or hopefully things like improve for the better. And I sort of hope like all of this gets like sussed out, figured out, or like Elon just goes back and fixes the platform and makes it how it used to be back in the good old prime day of like 2000, or the prime time of like 2012 and 11, when like the platform was way better. But yeah, um, slightly segueing a tiny bit, Skullgirls, they recently announced on Twitter that they're going to be making a lot of changes to the game, like artistically and like just stylistically wise, or I shouldn't say stylistically, but more, they're making a lot of changes in terms of like what they want the game's overall image to be. And if I can once again check, I think, because I get the or not the company. I get the group that Hidden Variable. Here it is. I thought it was no, because Lab Zero was the guys that were initially holding it down, and then they moved it over to Hidden Variable. But Hidden Variable, they're making a lot of changes to just overall how the game is, I guess, presenting itself, which a lot of people aren't really liking. Some people are kind of liking. You can, once I start like breaking it down, you can kind of see like why. Um, yeah, here's the tweet right here. As a part of a global Skullgirls content update, we have adjusted several art assets in Skullgirls Mobile, Skullgirls Second Encore, and the digital art compendium on all platforms. So that just sounds like a lot of gibberish for someone who doesn't play Skullgirls, or like someone who isn't really in the know. But just to read a tiny bit off of like these things, like, and then I'll like give my opinion on it, like right here. Allusions to real world hate groups. For those who don't know, Skullgirls, I think it's set in like the 1920s ish. I don't know like the exact time period, but all I know is that Skullgirls itself, like, it has like, I don't want to say a group that looks like a very specific other group of people who I don't want to name here. We can, there's a certain mustached man that, like, once I brought up that thing, you guys can sort of figure out what group I'm talking about. But there's a certain group in Skullgirls called the Black Egrets. They have armbands, sort of similar, not similar vibe, but like similar like air presence, if that makes sense. Like they sort of carry themselves the same way, even though they are something completely different. Just the fact of like they share so much of a similarity in terms of like appearance and everything. So Hidden Variable was like, all right, cool. We're going to, just to die down the heat a tiny bit, get rid of the armbands that like all of the high rank, if I'm not mistaken, it's either all of the members or all the high ranking members. I think it's all of the members because Parasol's moves, yeah. Parasol's moves where she calls in like members of the Black Egrets, they got rid of those because I was watching a video on it. Actually like doing a comparison of all of the newer stuff and older stuff. But for like that example, they got rid of all of the armbands and everything for those characters, both in like the actual in-game stuff and also in all of the like art assets and everything. So like the what's the word, like the bonus art and all of the other stuff like that, guest art and everything, if they had like a Black Eagles character, etc., etc. They got rid of a couple of things, like for example, there was a Soviet announcer voice that they got rid of, who was being voiced by Mike Z. Mike Z doesn't, work with. I keep, I keep getting ready to say Lab Zero when I want to say Hidden Variable. Mike Z doesn't work with Lab Variable, so they like omitted that and everything from that. Um, it's like they also made like a lot of it's just like a big, I don't want to say band-aid patch because I feel like that's sort of being disingenuous to the work that they're trying to do and like actually make it more of a, I guess, like friendly game towards like, but they're just making a lot of like changes to sort of make themselves seem like less uh you know what? No, I'll just say it. They're making changes to sort of like make themselves seem less horny. Cause you can even, or there's even a part right here in the form where it's character sexualization agency. While Skullgirls is no strangers to characters that confidently express their sexuality, there are instances in the game where characters are fetishized and or have been sexualized imposed upon them. This includes a few depictions of unwanted predatory behavior, particularly towards younger characters. While alluding to some of this can be narratively meaningful, we have made a number of small adjustments throughout the game to ensure that this content is less exploitative. Like to give an example, the opening affiliate story mode, where, if I'm not mistaken, she's literally being hit on by like two grown ass like Vidici men. Uh, so yeah, that was like very much bad, and I 100% support them for like taking that part out. But are they're just doing a big like I guess, yeah, I'll call it a band-aid patch because it's just like a lot of racial sensitivity, like I just said, the character sexualization and agency, allusion to real-world hate groups, and a lot of like changing of art assets and like just changing things up altogether. Now, the issue is with this, and I guess like I don't want to say issue, but like what people are sort of getting at is the fact that Skullgirls is changing a lot of things that people paid for, or just like completely omitting a lot of like bonus content that people paid for, which is the biggest issue here. Like there are a lot of and also whilst I'm like here, let me also like talk about how the game has been getting like reviewed bombed to like hell and back, which like really blows. But what sort of blows at like with this, or what sort of blows is the fact that like because of all of these changes and everything, and the fact that like it is sort of messing with stuff that people did pay for, there is a sort of okay, yeah, cool, that makes sense, like I can see why people are upset. But a lot of people are more upset over the fact of like, oh, they're making the game like less sexualized and more like, you know, groomer coomer friendly, whatever like term you want to use for it. And what I find hilarious about this is if you go onto the Steam page, and there was one that was like that had me crying. If you go onto the Steam page, like I said earlier, it's getting like massively reviewed bomb. Right now, it's overtly negative or overwhelmingly negative, which blows. If you go down, you see a lot of the like not recommended reviews, like just in the past 30 days. In the past 30 days, it's all people with like less than 50 hours on the game. And I find this to be so funny because it is always the groups that like barely play the game, don't know like the closest thing to what they're talking about, just like completely green. Like I'm talking like as green as could possibly be, like people in terms of like just like fighting games or like Skullgirls and then fighting games in general that are like not recommending it, which is hilarious. Like right here, not recommended. 11 and a half hours played. Not even a full day. ESG update just dropped. That's it. Um, 20 or 27 or 27.7 hours recommended. Good game. On an unrelated note, here's how to trick Steam into not forcing you to install an update. Thanks for removing a few character colors I didn't like. Hopefully you can remove the rest of the game in the next update. 35.9 hours. 0.9 hours. 0.4 hours at review time. Game is good and all, but people are angry because what they paid for was taken away from them. Valid reason to complain. Yeah, that's fair. This is actually from like 100 plus hours. As someone who brought the game on PC, PS4, and the Xbox 360 version, where I had to reinstall the game, yada yada. Oh, this is a big one. Um, Now that the times have changed, things are getting reviewed. Losing my Soviet voice announcer, removing and changing cutscenes, removing, changing art, and basically getting rid of the thing that made it famous in the first place. I don't approve of that, and I'm glad I'm not the only one that feels that in a way. I'm not a fan of any form of censorship, removing things like they never existed. Shame they couldn't just make a toggle option that'd be the best for a compromise. And honestly, that's probably the thing that I would have also like um not enjoyed, because either way you slice it, for me, I don't really care. I think Skullgirls is a very cool game. I don't play it enough to like really care enough all too much about like the change in censorships and everything. I am a tiny bit bummed out that they did just straight up remove things that I did pay for, but like all things considered, this is something that's being done for the betterment of the game, and I feel like a lot of people aren't really like realizing that this is for the betterment of the game so that it could be like sort of more appealing to spectators and everything. And it still has all of these same elements that like a lot of people were drawn to Skullgirls for. It's just that they've sort of been toned down to not be as egregious. And I feel like a toggle button probably could have like saved them, but yeah, I think Elijah's to be in Fortnite. Um, yeah, I just you know, we'll see how things go. I don't really care all too much. Whatever happens, happens. I'll let you guys know more of just everything. What else should I actually talk about? Oh yeah, the final like little mini point that I wanted to bring up. Steam sale. Steam sale. Let's go. June 29th through July 13th. Steam sale is happening. If you don't have your wallet, bust it out. Buy some fighting games. Skullgirls that I was just talking about, despite it being review bombed, it is $2. Ladies and gentlemen, y'all need to get on this. Tekken 7, $5. Soul Calibur 6, $5. UMVC 3, $7, bro. Mortal Kombat X, $10. Rivals, we won't talk about that. King of Fighters, $15. DOA, Dead on Arrival, $20, bro. Come on. Like, we eating. We are eating very good here. Killer Instinct, $13. Like, y'all are come on, bro. Y'all need to get on this. We need to Steam sales be hitting. And when Steam sales hit, they hit hard, especially for our community, since everything's very like tight knit and cool and sick. Like, come on, bro. Dude, I was talking about this with like so many people. Grand Blue Fantasy Versus. I know an update's coming for the game. I think it's like Grand Blue Fantasy Rising. I might check that out. Grand Blue Fantasy Versus is $2. $2. This game is not like the best, but you're telling me a fully functioning AAA design like developed game is $2. Come on. We like my people, we gotta get on this. Mortal Kombat 11, $5. For Honor, $3. Like I already said Tekken. Like, come on, guys. We have to get on this. Like, there's no reason why we shouldn't be getting on this, dude. Steam sales hit, and when they hit incredibly hard. Please, for the love of God, like, hop on, get your wallet out. Like, if you gotta do a tiny bit of budgeting, no matter what, you make it work. Like, Melty Blood, like, $30. I really wanted to get Melty Blood for, like, a good while, and I legitimately might, because it's 45% off. It's $30. Like, come on, guys. We need to hop on the Steam sale. We need to like start cracking. We need to start cracking down. Like, this is the best time ever if you ever wanted to splurge out on fighting games and just like buy a bunch of stuff. Cause honestly, with how much like all of these games, or like how good a lot of these games are that they have on discount, like UMVC 3. Dude, $7 for UMVC 3? That is a legend in the fighting game community. SF5, yeah, it's not the best. It got fixed. We know it's older brother, or I guess like younger brother in this instance. You know, Street Fighter 6 is still out. A lot of people are still probably playing 5. 5 is $10 right now. $10 for Street Fighter 5. I know we moved on to 2, but it's $10. Arena Ultimax, that game fumbled. And that's only because it didn't have rollback. $14. Like $15, dude. 50% off. Xrd Rev 2, $15. Come on, guys. We're eating here. Central Fiction, dude. Central Fiction is $10. If you really want to know, just go down. Like, go down and just look at go on the Steam fighting game. Uni, yo, Under Night in Birth, $5. Tag Battle, $5. Sam Show's like $30. Like, SF3's 30th anniversary, $10. There's no way we should be sleeping on this Steam sale. Like, come on. And we're not getting the next like full Steam sale until like autumn, November, October. Come on, bro. This is prime opportunity. Like, this is prime opportunity. If you gotta budget a tiny bit, by all means, do what you gotta do. But this is the best opportunity to start, like, buy up, stack your chips, do whatever you gotta do, and splurge. Cause we're eating incredibly well here, dude. Just the fact that Under Night In-Birth is $5, dude. Like, Street Fighter's 30th anniversary collection, which is like, it basically ports over all of the older SF games, right? Like, I think everything from all the way up to 4, except for 1, because nobody talks about Street Fighter 1. Like, 30th anniversary, dude. $10. You have a mountain worth. You have like mountains worth of history for $10, and you're telling me no, you're not gonna buy. Like, come on, guys. We gotta get on this. We gotta like start cracking down. We gotta like start hitting the streets. You know, as like our SF6 brethren would say, we gotta get on this because we're incredibly lucky. We're eating very good. We're incredibly lucky. We're getting a lot of really good deals here. And you know, there are obviously like other things too for the Steam sale. You know, my wish list for Steam, it's not really the best since I don't really care. Like, a lot of the games that I want for Steam aren't coming out until like a while. Bomb Rush Cyberpunk, that's not happening until I think like August. DNF Duel, sadly, you know, no like Steam, it didn't get hit with that Steam sale, but oh well. Ultra Kill, you know, $18. I might like about $20. I might check that out. You know, no dates for like anything, but oh well. A lot of the games that I want, either they didn't get hit with the Steam sale, like Two Strike. Two Strike is an early access game. I would suggest like putting this on your wish list until it actually drops. Like $12. You know, that's something light. I don't really care all too much about that. Tekken 8, you know, no date. Geno Kids, no date. Hades 2, no date. BRC, no date. Oh well. But yeah, Steam sale, we're eating. We're eating incredibly well. Be sure to check out the Steam sale before July is June 29th. By the time like this video comes out, if I'm not mistaken, it would already be July. So please check out the Steam sale. July 13th. That's your due date. Like, hop on, do whatever you gotta do, start buying a lot of games, like, cause it's gonna be heavily discounted, and also just be sure to like look into. Just make sure like you're not gonna completely screw yourself over in the future. Like, once again, if you need to budget some stuff out, budget some stuff out. Cause like, yo, my wallet is about to be as empty as them like Overwatch. No, that's a horrible that's a horrible analogy. That game's dying on its own. I don't even want to say anything, but yeah, just like, dude, just check out the Steam sale. Steam sale hits. Steam sales hit, and when they hit hard. So please, by all means, go out, start buying stuff. This is probably the best. Like, Christmas and then Steam sales or just sales in general are always the best times to get into fighting games because like a good like new well of people, if they're like either large enough or just like interested enough, are, you know, they're gonna be checking the games out. And on top of that, since they're discounted, and you got a friend who's interested in checking out that game, yo, it's like $5. You telling me you and your homie can't like five each? Boom, let's go play some Tekken. Like, come on, dude. So yeah, I sound like a broken record. Check out the Steam sale, July 13th. Please, I implore you guys, check out the Steam sale. We're eating good, and we're eating hard, and we're gonna be eating for the ends of time and earth and space.
Round 2.
So we just got news of like a bunch of other stuff dropping. Thankfully, I decided to like actually wake up and start seeing all of the things that were coming out. So, you know, I guess we get to give like a first little, tiny little, like, I guess live commentary about like everything that's actually dropping and like what's coming out. Like, for example, we got a lot more Mortal Kombat news. There was a Mortal Kombat trailer for me not too long ago, literally like an hour ago. At the time of me recording this, and it was basically a Lin Kuei trailer, showing off all of the Lin Kuei characters. We also got a couple more info on like the characters, specifically the characters that we're going to be getting in the cameo system, which is basically like your assist call. That being Cyrax, Sector, and Frost. So, you know, that's cool. On top of the other characters, you know, the playable characters that we are getting for the cameo system as well. So on top of those four already, and I think like the dude with the flashlights name was Striker, and everybody else that has been shown off. We also know that the playable cast is also going to be appearing as a like cameo system as well, which is adds a lot to character like variety and what we are actually going to be able to play with. And just looking at the like Lin Kuei trailer and everything, it sort of seems like what I was talking about before about them like being brothers is sort of like expanding out to the entire like Lin Kuei clan, I guess. And for those who don't know, initially the Lin Kuei and the Shirai Ryu, which was Scorpion and Sub-Zero's clans, they were at odds with each other. A lot of generational blood going back and forth. They sort of molded over, and X really started like fixing things in 11. And since the like whole timeline and everything got reset and everybody's like normal, from what it seems like the Lin Kuei are sort of just like a whole clan of like elementals from what it seems like, because we have, I think, if I remember his name, Bihan, and then I don't remember, like I don't remember their names. It's been a while, but basically we have Smoke, obviously we have Sub-Zero, and then we have Scorpion. Since like the games prior, Scorpion got his powers from making his deal with I forgot. Oh, I also forgot his name. I know it's not Shang's son, but it's his or it's supposed to be like his like disciple who like he makes the deal with and then like gets entrapped in hell, which is where he gets his powers. But it sort of seems like they now sort of just all run in the lead, or why do I keep like mixing up names? Jesus. The Lin Kuei. It seems like they all just run with the same Lin Kuei set. So what that is, sort of showing off is like, oh, cool. All of these characters are like they have some sort of ties to the elementals and everything, which sort of also makes sense too, because in this trailer we do get a glimpse of Rain. I don't really know a lot about Rain. I remember seeing him back in Mortal Kombat X's story and was like, oh, this character is kind of cool. I wonder if we'll see more of him. And then we did not see more of him because I think he died. And now he's like actually showing up in the game. Someone, if I'm like 100% wrong, then you guys can like correct me on it in the comments and everything. But yeah, Mortal Kombat was never my strong suit to begin with. And I'm just going off like sort of what I can just generally remember. But looking at this trailer, pretty solid, pretty cool. It's a lot of like the same flair and everything that we're getting from the rest of the story and everything. We're getting a lot of story bits here. And basically, it seems like, from what I can piece together, it seems like just everybody is coming together to try and stop Earthrealm from like something going wrong. We don't know. We still don't know what yet. But we do know that something is indeed going to go wrong. So I guess we'll get more info on that later, like once the game actually comes out. Once again, remember it's happening September 19th. So, like I've been saying, FGC, we're eating incredibly well. We have a lot of very big heavy hitters and everything coming up. If you guys want, I can, or actually no, I will link the actual Lin Kuei trailer on top of the combat cast where they actually go through talk about all of the stuff. Like, I'll link both that and that VOD because that's a whole live stream. It's just under an hour, pretty digestible like content and everything. Well, at least digestible enough if you can like sit here and listen to this. Well, I mean, you're probably doing like other stuff whilst listening to this on top of that. But yeah, with Mortal Kombat, getting more news as the release date rolls around, because that game is coming out September 19th. Like I've been saying, folks, the FGC is fighting incredibly well. If you, or actually no, I am going to link the combat cast on top of the actual like Lin Kuei trailer video. Which goes over small. It's just showing off what the characters do, like what every other trailer video does, nowadays. I was initially going to talk about a leak and then sort of like talk a tiny bit more about that, but honestly, I don't want to, more because if it is a leak and then it does end up being real, then I guess we can have that come from the actual combat cast and like just the character trailers and everything else. And if it's not real, then I don't look like an idiot covering something that is fake. Because as the FGC knows, or just like sort of every media in general, there are a lot of people who are looking for fame and fortune, trying to like scrounge out whatever stupid leak they can in order to like get their publicity. For all my Smash fans out there, the Grinch leak, that one, that's like a boogeyman. That's a skeleton in the closet, I guess. Um, but yeah, that's all I can really say for Mortal Kombat. Like I said, I'm not really like the biggest fan on it, so I don't really care all too much. I'll keep like an eye on it. I'll check in every now and again. But with that being said, since we got a lot more news, like more specifically, some more beta news, because Grand Blue Fantasy Versus Rising, the new installment for the Grand Blue Fantasy Versus series, its beta is coming out soon. I have the tweet right here. Let's actually, yeah. Grand Blue Fantasy Versus Rising online beta registration is now open for the pre-access beta. Selected characters will be able to, or you'll be able to play from July 26th to 27th. Anyone not selected you will be able to play from July 28th to the 30th. Once again, that's gonna be in a link down below. I have not played Versus, but I really don't have a reason not to, because Versus is like $2 right now from the Steam sale. Once again, please go check out the Steam sale. Steam sale is incredibly crazy. I also don't know anything about the Grand Blue Fantasy Versus like characters in general. I just know game looks pretty. The game looks like very pretty, and if it's anything like any other ArcSys like game that I would play, from the looks of it, it seems like I would play potentially either Loian or Fairy, since she reminds me a lot like Phonon from Eunice. So I would probably play those characters. If anything, I should probably like go out and buy it right now just so I can, see what I'm getting myself into. But actually, no, because I can wait for the beta, register for the beta, try that out, and then, see, or I just wait for the game in general. But who knows? Grand Blue Fantasy versus Beta, that's dropping. So very cool, very fun. Can't wait to see more about that and see what actually comes about that. And sort of the last thing that I want to break down before we start breaking down something else that is very important that happened like around 2 weeks ago. Rashid. I thought this trailer was going to like, or I thought this character was going to come out like way later, like possibly like August. But no, we got a Rashid trailer. Capcom just decided to drop Rashid trailer just like out the blue, random, and we know we know when the character's coming. He's coming um July 26th, which is cool. Just the fact that that's 20 days from now. Just the fact that they decided to drop a trailer like randomly with no build up, no nothing. That's kind of crazy. We got a lot on just his overall like gameplay style and everything, or less gameplay and just like we got a lot of info on him, and that's the thing of like, oh, he has a double jump. His, if I'm not mistaken, his V trigger, or yeah, his V trigger is turned into his SA2. Which I remember seeing a tweet where someone was like, oh, he's saying like Ian Sinclair, who's voicing the character, is saying like racism storm, and now I can't unhear it, which that completely ruined it for me. That's amazing. So yeah, I I'm really looking forward to Rashid. Less because if he is top tier in this game, then we have all lost a very fun fighting game to play. If he's not, I have a feeling that like the New Balance team is most definitely going to like try and tune him down for like this game's installment, especially since like looking at all of the data that they have from 5, they can most definitely, they I have a feeling they know what they're doing this time around. However, with the introduction of Rashid, this now brings like question, why is Lily here? Like we now have like two wind characters, and I guess it's different because Lily uses like the wind spirit, while which is I guess supposed to be like a more natural like southern-ish wind, while like Rashid is more dust wind. I'm like that. Cause Rashid is that guy. Like, God, he's such a fun, cool character. Rashid is actually really sick. And also, like, talking about Rashid a tiny bit, I made like a little tweet earlier talking about all of the protagonists from Street Fighter like timeline, since apparently since or no, because I was unaware, Rashid was or is officially the main protagonist of SF5 by Takayuki Nakayama, as he was specifically intended to be. So basically what that means is, for like anyone who's like interested, because I just thought this was interesting, all of the protagonists for the Street Fighter series should go Ryu, Alex, Abel, the grappler dude who is in Street Fighter 4, like sort of, I guess I would say the main foil to Seth, since their whole naming scheme was supposed, or Seth's whole naming scheme, who keep in mind was the main villain for that game, was in relation to Abel, since he was initially going to be named Cain. If for those who don't know, in the Bible, Cain was the one who killed Abel when they were brothers. Seth still works because Seth is the third brother who was supposed to replace Cain, so it makes sense. Or was supposed to replace Abel, if I'm not mistaken. I'm probably like getting them mixed up, but you guys get the general idea. We got Double Ryu for SF1 and 2. SF3, we got Alex, the grappler who they tried to, push, but it didn't really work. They doubled down with the grappler idea in SF4 with Abel. Rashid, we got SF5, a more traditionalist character, still kind of zany, kind of wacky with it. And then SFR6, we are completely doubling down on that more traditionalist sense and just going back to the basic tools that we've had for time and time again with Luke. And honestly, this pro tag lineup kind of sick. I'm not gonna lie. Like, all of these characters, they're really cool in their own merits and everything. And now, since all we're going to be getting like three out of the four, or no, three out of the five protagonists for Street Fighter, I would like to see if they have any intention in bringing Abel and Alex back into the game. Alex did sort of get a spotlight in 5, since obviously he was absent for 4, but 4 takes place before um 5, if I'm not mistaken, if my timeline is correct. I think so, yeah. So we maybe might see Alex, we maybe not. I know for a fact I want to see Sean. Please give us some more like SF3 representatives, please. That character is super cool and fun. And by super cool and fun, I mean like completely dysfunctional. But that was the beauty of it. That's why I like Sean so much. That, and the fact that I feel like there could be a lot done for his character. Just like now in the future. So yeah, Grand Blue Fantasy, we're getting a beta. SF6, we just got a random trailer drop, and then Mortal Kombat, we also got another trailer drop talking about the Lin Kuei, Cyrax, the bots, everybody. So just all around, in all of the pillars of the FGC, a lot of things are happening. I think the only people who are not making moves right now is Tekken, which I think is crazy. Because if you guys remember, Harada was talking insane about like, oh, we're gonna have more characters in Street Fighter, and then he's moving silent, and I'm kind of less worried and more like I'm interested in what he is planning, cause no man talks that big a game and then just disappears for like weeks on end, and I'm gonna be very, very, very interested in what Harada-san and everybody else is going to be doing in the future. But that's pretty much all of the news that we have for this segment. Next segment, I want to start breaking down a big major tournament that happened 2 weeks ago. That being Evo, or whoa, not CEO, not Evo. Evo isn't until August, which obviously I will be talking about on top of that. But I do want to break down CEO specifically, like the SF6 run of CEO. I should break down, Gear and all of the other games that I do play, but right now I do just want to like break down the Street Fighter 6 run of it, since it is the first major that the game is a part of, and I feel like it's very important that we look at that and see, all of the strategies that were employed, see what characters were chosen. So we're going to be taking a look at top 8 for CEO 2023 of Street Fighter 6.
Round 3.
Now, really quickly before I, start breaking down CEO and everything and like start talking about that, I did really quickly because I did want to mention this in the last segment that recently a new anime fighter has come onto the scene, or I say like new anime fighter coming onto the scene because it is not out yet. But for those who don't know, I'm talking about Jujutsu Kaisen's Curse Clash that does not have a release date, being developed by Bandai Namco. From the looks of it, it seems like a sort of standard 2v2, 3D arena anime fighter that we get every like 2 or 3 years from the most popular series. Honestly, I don't really care all too much about it because these things are sort of safe in the terms of in terms of a fighting game, it doesn't need to necessarily be balanced because they're gonna like drop it within 2 or 3 like years, I say. So I don't know. If anything, I just mostly wanted to mention this because I'm a big fan of the series Jujutsu Kaisen. I'm all the way caught up to the manga. I really do enjoy it. I really enjoy Gege Akutami's writing and just his art style. I think it is killer. I think it is super cool. And I also just think that it is very cool how much, like, sort of recognition that this series is getting as a new gen anime. Because, like, a lot of things aren't, like, there are a lot of series that I feel like not necessarily would have benefited from like more exposure like this, but I'm sort of just glad that like this series that I really do enjoy is getting an anime fighter. Maybe we get something for like the Chainsaw Man fans out there too, please. No Bandai, who knows? Maybe when season 2 comes out, but that probably won't be for a while. Anyway, back to regularly scheduled program. By regularly scheduled, I'm talking about CEO, which happened like 2 weeks ago. And if you don't know, CEO major, a big like major tournament. This is one of the majors. It's probably up there with the likes of like Frosty Faustings, Evo, obviously. Combo Breaker, things like this. Is very big stuff, especially since this is the first major that Street Fighter 6 has been a part of. So there are a lot of eyes on this. Hell, I didn't even watch, or I didn't even feel like watching Gears. Like CEO running. I know that my boy Adventure, Jacko player, shout out to Adventure. He did win that. I did see his video talking about that whole experience. So yeah, big ups to him for being the only Jacko player in top 8, and on top of that, being the only Jacko to win a major. So yeah, that's a very big props like for Adventure. That dude is he's killing it. But speaking about killing it, really quickly, I just want to go over like all of the like vibe things that I sort of always get from like CEO and everything else, and if, just to break it down, like, or just like to give a little like I guess preview of what I initially wanted to talk about like a few weeks back. I think I pushed it up, so it's gonna be an episode soon, but generally speaking, what gives like something a vibe is like its overall presentation and how that presentation is sort of like outward and forwarded to the consumer, the public, like everyone that's watching. For example, CEO versus Combo Breaker. Combo Breaker is very like music themed. All of its awards and everything are based off of like vinyl records, whereas opposed to CEO, which is based way more in like sort of the, I don't want to say professionalism, but like professional wrestling. So there's a very different like tune and sound tape like each of them. So real quick, like one of the big draws of CEO is all of the like entrance, the top eights. Everybody that's in top 8, they'll get like a wrestler style or like a wrestler themed like intro when they go up on stage. And speaking from the purest of pure of my heart, everyone out here for top 8 had no sauce, nothing cool. Like nobody did anything sick. I think there was like one player. I think it was a jury player, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember. But nobody had anything cool. Nobody did anything cool or anything interesting. It was lame. It was just, I'm gonna walk on stage, be mad cool, uncool, unsauced up. No, this is supposed to be top 8. Come on, gang. Like we're supposed to be doing something cool. We're supposed to be being like, we're supposed to be flashy. Like I know, I get it. Like everybody, this is just like another Sunday or another Monday out in the scene, just like doing my top 8 run. But like, at least throw off a little bit of flair or something. Cause like, dude, watching these intros, maybe I was about to fall asleep. It's just walk on stage, look around, nothing. Like, I can't even remember. I know like, the one jury player I was just talking about. It's not Zeke, is it? I think it is Zeke. Yeah, Zeke came out with his whole like crew of people, and I gotta respect that, cause he did at least he did something. Yeah, right. Alright. Zeke came out with the whole poster. Shout out to mommy. Couldn't find an actual real flag, so he and his crew had to come up and like it was something. Um, that's the only one that I can really remember. I think like Pink or Punk, aka Pink, as he wanted to be called. And this time around, he wanted to he just went up on his phone and then recorded on his phone, and that's it. Like, come on, man, nothing cool. Like nobody did anything cool, and that's mad lame. And I feel like in terms of where the whole thing is supposed to be like spectacle and everything, you guys could have had like a bit of flair. Me personally, if I'm in top 8 CEO, which I probably will not be for like ever, but if I'm like in a top 8 CEO run or like something, I'm putting so much spectacle into my entrance. The pyrotechnics is going off like crazy. I'm gonna have like an Undertaker style, like I come up from under the stage and like I gotta do something cool, cause I either pop out or I don't pop out at all. But that's just me. Um, Shout outs, and also talking about presentations again, more specifically on the commentary. Shout out to Nipes, or shout out to IFC Yipes. I love that man so much. Shout out to Logan. Both of them did some really good commentary. Please, if Yipes is on if Yipes is in the commentator booth, I'm having a good time. Doesn't matter what game I'm like watching. Doesn't matter if I absolutely hate it. That dude could be spectating, or like he could be commentating on Smash, not know a damn thing. I'm still watching that, cause that is Yipes just carries that hard anytime he's doing commentary. I love that man so much. Shout out to my boy Yipes IFC. Once again, if he's in a commentator booth, I suggest you sit down, strap up, and get to listening, cause I forget what line. Just his everything this man does is just full of hype. It's because of that NYC blood, yo. Shout outs, shout outs. Logan don't really have any. He held it down on the second half for the commentator, but like Yipes is just such a. I haven't even heard of this guy before. If I'm gonna be 100% honest, but like Yipes just carries so hard in anything that he does. He makes everything like so much fun, dude. And also shout out to Alex Jabali, the whole tournament organizer, of CEO. He's one of the top dogs up there, like one of the really big like figureheads in the FGC. So yeah, shout out to Alex Bailey once again. Like every year, I can't even remember the dude's name who was like out introducing everybody at the start. He was cool. None really to talk about. But with all that out the way, with all the presentation and everything out the way, let's actually talk about top 8. And let's really quickly just go through a rundown of the bracket and everything that was happening. So winner semi side, right? Like all the way at the start, or like no games are played yet. Winner semis, we got Menard, Bandits Menard, and IDOM. A Manon and a Lucan Blanca player, respectively, going in on winner semis, and then after that we got Punk, aka Pink, as he wanted to be called, and then Gabba. Also both a lot of DR players actually, or by a lot of DR I mean like 2, but still out of like all American players, and then you got like 2 DR representatives. Shoutouts. I ain't from the DR or anything, but like still shout out representing. Um, in loser side, we got Nephew, we got Zeke, jury players, and then below them we got Goat Gloat, and then we got Sticky Fingers. 2 players that I have not heard of like at all. And just the fact that they made it to top 8, like really, really big ups on them. I honestly might start keeping an eye more on. I think it was Sticky Fingers, who I was like really piqued my interest as a Manon player. So yeah, just giving a rundown really quickly of all of the characters that we have playing. Manon, Bandits Manon, or Menard, he's playing Luke and he's playing Blanca. We got Idom, who obviously, a big Manon player. Punk, if I'm not mistaken, he's playing Jerry. Cammy, Gabba, I think he is also playing Jerry. I think. Can I find footage? No, Guile. Cabba's playing Guile. Nephew, we also got on Jury. Sticky Fingers, we got Manon. Zeke, we also got on. Or is Zeke even? If I'm not, yeah. Zeke is also another Jury player. Gold Glow, I not Manon. Jury player, Jury, Guile, Sticky Fingers also playing Guile or playing Manon. So just right off the bat, we got a lot of Jury play here. And that obviously that's saying something. Even though the character that does in fact win this, which spoiler alert, it's Menard. He ends up winning, I think, with Blanca. So Blanca wins the first major for Street Fighter 6's lifespan. So cool. But seeing as there's a lot of jury play here, obviously I feel like it's because of her really solid and strong normals, the fact of her like draw rush being incredibly fast and going relatively far. Like she's not her the setups, the feng shui engine setups going into like either 50-50s after like getting that whole little combo and then going into a high-low mix, rinse and repeat, very mix heavy as soon as like you start getting that feng shui engine flow started. So we now see why Jury is being like played a lot here. Manon, I think we have like 2 or 3 Manon players here. Makes sense. Manon also a very like strong snowball character. Once you start getting the the literal snowball going, you start getting medals and everything. We can sort of see that it is a lot more a being a Manon player myself, albeit like a gold Manon player. I can sort of see all of the strategies that the players are sort of getting in here. I can sort of see where or like how they're trying to implement their whole let me see if I can sneak in a command grab or something here and just like keep the snowball effect going. And that's really like the two main characters that we see throughout the entire thing. Everybody else is sort of like, oh, we have Punk playing Cammy, which if I'm not mistaken, Punk is sort of like not well known for playing Cammy, but like Cammy's a very like safe pick. She's been in the game since like the SF2 days, so it makes sense. You get that familiarity. Luke's still relatively new. Jerry still relatively new. They're like 4 and 5. Manon, brand new in this game 6, which is kind of interesting, seeing as Manon of all characters is the only one. Or is the only like newcomer in the series that's being consistently played, whilst everybody else is sort of like coming back from an older game of some kind, which is kind of interesting because when I like was first looking at SF6 and I was like watching Manon and like just looking at the character and then seeing how she played with all of the minimum footage that we had and everything, I was necessarily thinking that she was going to be like a very niche like mid to low tier, and that was because like a majority of her things were relatively stubby. A lot of her like mix-up options were sort of like minus on block. You get punished for that very easily. Like, but now seeing as like she was one of the like more overtly standing characters in like terms of character pick, that's sort of like very interesting. And I was necessarily thinking that like someone like I don't know, Marissa or like Jamie or somebody else would have been played more often than like a Manon would be. So that's just a little food for thought. But still, even then, you know, we're mostly like gonna follow Menard here through his run. First off, like I said earlier, we got Menard versus Idom. If I'm not mistaken, that goes 0-3. Right? Yeah, that goes 0-3. Survey says, yeah, 0-3, which is kind of like insane because I thought Idol, like if I wanted to be a tiny bit biased here because I do watch a tiny bit of his content, for like Manon guys and everything, I was necessarily thinking that like Idom was going to not clean up, but like not immediately get thrown into losers. So that's fine. He doesn't, or yeah, Menard doesn't play again until, let's find out. I think not losers. Yeah, winners finals, right? Yeah, winners finals. Playing against Pink, aka Punk, which I don't know why he was so adamant on being called Pink this time around. It was just really weird. Once again with the 3-1 setup, so Menard is just like cleaning throughout this entire like run of top eight, which is kind of wild because like this dude had momentum and that momentum did not stop for like a while. Um, and then yeah, he just kept carrying that momentum until grand finals, in which he played Nephew. If I'm not mistaken, Nephew was the one that actually went to losers finals and then took out Punk that time around. Which, if for those who don't know, Punk and Nephew, they were actually like roommates for a good while and like big practice partners. So like this is sort of a like rivals. Like if you want to think anime, this is like a rivals going against each other to fight like the big bad sort of situation. So yeah, Nephew coming in from losers. We got Menard coming in from winners. Playing Blanca the other two times that he did play Luke, and then also swapped over to Blanca again. And that I don't, man, I don't know why Nephew chose or decided to actually play Chun Li here. I feel like it would have been a way stronger option to go through with his jury. And that's sort of another thing that I was necessarily like thinking too. I think when, like, just to run back a tiny bit, like earlier into the bracket, when not Nephew versus Zeke, I think it's yeah, Sticky Fingers versus Idom. He just decided Idom. I feel like Idom sort of threw here because he decided to play Jerry against Sticky Fingers, who is another Manon player, and he threw away like two full games, like with his sort of like I'm not gonna say lackluster Jerry because like these guys are way better than me, but at the same time I feel like if you were putting all of your like time and energy into this single character and you just didn't want to play the mirror match despite being the better option here, I feel like it would have been way more in the net positive to play the mirror match out. And it even makes sense because the only game that he gets up against Sticky Fingers is when he's playing Manon. But because he threw those last two games earlier, it didn't really matter. So yeah, man, I feel like Idom, like, he sort of threw away, like, this run, which kind of blows, because I really do like Idom a good bit. That's my guy. Like, Manon players in Spirit. But, oh well. Anyway, back to Grand Finals. So, once again, I'm just, character picks and everything, I'm just not really I don't really get here because Nephew, he's playing Jury, loses the first game. He plays Chung Li again, like, or no, he actually goes up one with his Jury and then swaps over to Chung Li. Or no, I think yeah. Does he come in playing Chun? If I can find it. No, because he ends off with going. Yeah, Menard ends off going 3-1 again, which is insane, playing against his jury. So when does he? Yeah. When does he start playing Chun? Because I know he doesn't go. Oh no, what? I swear I just had the clip. Yeah, right here. Menard's up 1-0, and then he plays Chun-Li, throws a game, and then decides to swap back over to Jiri again. Like, I would have rather, like, if this is, once again, if I'm in the driver's seat, I'd rather stick to what I know here and then what I enjoy playing. So I wouldn't have gone with the Chun-Li pick, throw away a game, because I feel like that other, like the game that he actually does against Menard, he could have potentially had that earlier and then changed the whole momentum of the set, potentially making it a 3-2 instead of a 2-3, or he could have even reset the bracket if all things considered, because I do think Nephew is a really strong character, or a really strong player. But yeah, man, just know that character picks do they are very important. Even if like someone is playing your character or something, like don't let that discourage you. Uh, yeah, I can't really say anything else. Just don't let character picks like sort of discourage you if you're like playing some or if you're in a mirror match or anything. But all things considered, Menard played incredibly well. Shoutouts to him. Shoutouts for being the first one to win an actual major, for Street Fighter 6. That I know the tournament nerves would have been insane. Shoutouts to Nephew. Shoutouts to Punk as well, or Pink. I still really don't know why he wanted to be called that for like whatever, man. And also shout outs to this entire like top 8 lineup, because these guys showed out, even though they showed out where it didn't really, I would have liked better intros, but oh well. Even though they showed out incredibly well for this game's first major, and with all of this being considered, I really can't wait to see what the rest of this game's lifespan sort of has in store for itself, because if this is just what like the first actual major is sort of looking like, then I wonder what the rest of the game is also going to be looking like. So that's gonna do it from me. That's gonna do it for like the CEO breakdown and everything. Once again, if you have the time, opportunity, money, if you have the resources too, I really, really do recommend you go to your locals, your regionals. Like if you can just go outside and try and interact with the people like around you that are in the scope. And I know it is very hard, but like just if you can't find that community, then I would try and suggest like you foster the community yourself, either online or offline. I do like more offline spaces, so I would try and if like get an offline space more than an online space. But at the end of the day, I still really do suggest you try and like foster up that community of like fighting game players and everything, because ultimately the best way that you learn is by going out there, hitting the streets, like both in the literal and figurative sense, and like just playing the game, experimenting, and then finding new tactics and everything. And the more variables that you add, obviously, the more things that you have to account for, and then that makes the game easier or more fun basically. And also you meet a lot of really cool people along the way too. So that's gonna do it for me. Big thanks to everybody who decided to stick in or like stick it out and listen to this entire like rambling scheme and everything. We covered a lot in this episode, so if I'm not mistaken, this is probably gonna be like one of my more longer episodes. I think like the longest one, not accounting for the special episode, which by the way, I do have something coming. Like I said earlier, I think I do have something coming up for the 25th episode, so be on the lookout for that. Um, so yeah, big shout outs for just tuning in, listening. I really do appreciate it. I would give a recommended run back for this time around, but like I'm going to link so many things in this week's episode. Honestly, the recommended run back is just watch all of the stuff that's in the description below. Look at the Mortal Kombat stuff. Go look at the beta for Grand Blue Fantasy Versus. Go watch the entirety of CEO 2023 for Street Fighter 6 and CEO 2023 Guilty Gear Strive to also help out my boy Adventure and watch his run. And also just watch Adventure's content as well, because I think it is really solid. But yeah, all things. Once again, I sound like a broken record. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. I love you guys all so much. Be sure to continue playing fighting games. I'm your host, Creepy Games, Zuki Skyward, Games.png. I'll catch you all in the next one, and I'll see y'all later.